Rajeeb, how is Learnerbly helping companies create and build great corporate cultures?
Well, Learnerbly is a workplace learning marketplace. What we're doing is really putting the onus on the employees to own their own development. So normally with learning and development, companies will mandate that you do certain compliance-related training. We believe that you're hiring intelligent people in this war for talent. You need to empower employees to own their own development. So give them a stipend, let them choose what they want to do based on how they like to learn. So they're getting choice from over 250 different learning and development providers rather than being mandated to use one particular vendor. So that means if you like to learn through reading a book, or if you want to go to a course or attend a conference, the choice is yours.
And however you learn best.
However you learn best, exactly. And so that way you really increase the utilization, because most learning platforms will see maybe 10 or 15% utilization. We're seeing anything from 40 to 60% every month, and over 95% of employees actually using the solution. So in doing that, you're really creating and fostering a culture of learning, which is so important in this day and age.
I mean, certainly when you talk about war for talent, and it's become such a big challenge, not just acquiring, but then retaining talent. Do you have any stats out there already on how Learnerbly is helping companies retain talent?
I think what's important to recognize is that the need for personal growth is going up further and further in terms of employees' key drivers of why they join
their own
a
personal
company,
satisfaction,
why they join a company. And what we see is with introducing a platform like Learnerbly, the growth driver, if you look at employee engagement, more than doubles, in some cases triples, when you measure the level of employee engagement in a business. From a retention perspective as well, it's important to recognize that by your choices of things that you're requesting on the platform, you're actually signaling where your head's at. So normally, if you pigeonhole someone by saying, you're in sales,
so here's what you got to learn.
Here's what you got to learn. Then you just think that they're going to stay in sales for the rest of their career. But actually, by giving them the choice, if they're choosing things which is slightly tangential to their job, you as a manager could have a conversation with them and say, actually, this may be appropriate, may not be appropriate, but more importantly, what's triggered you to want to request this particular resource on the marketplace?
Right.
So if you want to retain them, have that conversation with them. If they've just chosen something about design or product management, have a conversation. Is that where you want to take your career? Is that because you're trying to sell to that kind of particular audience? And that way you're actually uncovering what's in their mind, where they may want to go next from a retention strategy.
What about just mentor-mentee relationships as a form of learning?
So we don't necessarily have formalized mentor relationships on the platform, but we do have coaches. And so you can use your stipend to request some coaching time with a roster of highly pre-vetted and highly qualified coaches as well. But at the same time, learning from peers in your organization is actually facilitated through the platform. So employees can recommend content to each other. They can review and rate the content on there. There's also development goals that you can share with your peers and managers as well.
Rajeeb, one of the most interesting things about your journey is right from a very early age, you started giving back to the innovation ecosystem. You were a co-founder of Startup Britain, which had the support of the then Prime Minister David Cameron, and you've just been engaged in a whole bunch of initiatives around the innovation ecosystem. What would be the advice you would give a young emerging founder that is in a mindset of wanting to give back?
So what I would recommend people to do is think about, how can you make an impact through the ventures that you're running, or how can you use your time and your expertise to volunteer by being on a board, an advisory board, or as a trustee, or a governor of a school maybe. So there's many ways that you can make an impact early on in your career.